Remove the veil of unhappiness, of non-fulfillment, of not getting what you want. I want to share with you in this very powerful video that I encourage you, to all of you, to watch this video until the end. There is such a blanket, a thing that is happening, that has been happening in our world, and that is that people are convinced that they must fight for happiness. They must work hard to have what they want in life. That happiness is not normal, that it is not natural, that it is something that you must strive for, and that you must get or achieve something in order to even feel happiness, let alone be the happiness that you are. It is so normal to feel miserable and normal to feel like you have to put effort into things. This is what has been conditioned into most people. And as many of you know, I'm a former psychotherapist, and this is something that I worked with people for years. And now as a full-time coach, I still see how people do not allow themselves to be happy, to be loved, to have their wishes fulfilled. And I want to go deep into this subject today to help shift you to rearrange the contents of your consciousness so that you allow yourself, the true self of who you really are, to surface and live a life that you truly love. Welcome, my name is Rose, and welcome to The Rosey Life, where we help you free your mind and follow your heart so you live the life that you love. If you're interested in working one-on-one with me, you can go to RoseyLife.com, or you can sign up to the Rosey Life course and community, where we have a private forum and there's 12 lessons to go from the external focusing and thinking that stuff is out here to the internal power that you are, that moves and causes everything to show up in your life the way that you want it. So you can go, all the information is below. I want to get to this video because if I look determined, it is because I am. And I am determined in this video to unleash the happiness and joy within you, even if it's just planting a seed within you, even if you think this isn't you, right? I want you to at least observe this and notice the slight adjustment that is going to happen to you by watching this video. There, in A Course in Miracles, it talks about, throughout the book and through all the lessons and all of the activities it has you to do, it always comes down to two choices. Do you choose fear or love? Fear, as all the spiritual teachers have already taught us in a million gazillion ways, is that fear is made up, all of it. All fear. Let's talk about what fear is. Fear of not getting what you want, fear that there's limits to your power, fear that you don't know if you're doing it right, fear that you won't have the love of your life, fear of being alone, fear of being rejected, fear of being broke, fear of being in debt for the rest of your life. Any fear, fearful thoughts, fearful feelings, any fear, all of it, it's all made up. And I know it feels very real. I know that it can feel overwhelming, but notice how even the words that my clients use to describe their fearful thoughts or they think they have limiting beliefs, they always just, but it feels this way. It feels this way. It's always referring to a feeling. Anything that changes is not real. There is only one thing that is changeless, and that is your I am, your beingness, your power within. That is a rock, and it will never change. It is changeless. Okay, anything else other than that changes. Your feelings change from moment to moment. Your thoughts change from moment to moment. The things around you change from moment to moment. The weather changes. Time changes. Everything changes. But who you really are is changeless. And that is love. That is divine, unconditional love, not the romantic love, not the family or pet love, but unconditional love. Okay, so love is the only real thing. Love is the only reality. And if you, for 1 second, think that you have to address fear, that you have to cope with it, deal with it, fix it, figure out why you have this fear, figure out when this fear started, figure out when you started thinking negatively, all of that is still giving attention to fear. And the more that you give something your attention, the bigger it grows. Same thing if you give your attention to who you really are, love, the more that you experience and see love in your life. But what I find with my clients and with many comments in different channels, or in my different videos rather, is fear is always the top of the questioning. There's always some fear, and it's always justified, fought for. You stand on it and believe in it, and time is in here. The fear of time going by, the fear of how much time, the fear of you're not doing it right, the fear that you lost your chance. You've so many fears, and this is what most people are fighting to defend, trying to figure out, trying to get out of it. They're spending time, money, everything, all their focus, all their attention in trying to figure out how to let go of fear, how to stop fear. We don't have to figure out how to let go of fear. We don't have to stop fear. We don't have to address it. It is there, it is made up, and it is not real. So trying to fix fear, trying to figure out how to let it go, right? You're trying to figure out how to let go of something that doesn't even exist. It's like trying to grab air with your hands. You're not going to, because it's made up. And you can't, and even A Course in Miracles talks about this in length, and so many teachers, I've talked about it in many, many videos, hundreds of videos that I've made now, talking about fear is not real. It is made up. It's the feeling, the effect of it feels very real, and you are experiencing the effect of that fear, okay, but it is not real because it is changeable. It changes. And remember, only that which does not change is real, and that is love. That is who you are. So you are constantly at a crossroads wondering if it's fear or love. Well, I want to get into this even deeper though. So when these are some of the comments that I hear from people, I'm struggling to stay in the wish fulfilled. We're going to address these, okay? And we're going to get you out of these. I'm struggling to stay in the wish fulfilled. I get triggered and bounce out of my state, right? It feels like you can't control your thoughts. This is what a client just shared with me yesterday. She said, it feels like I can't control my thoughts or my feelings, even no matter what I affirm, no matter what I try. There's so much in here, so much gold and wisdom in these statements. So struggling to stay in the wish fulfilled. Why? Why is it a struggle to stay in happiness? Why is it a struggle to stay in joy? Why does it feel like it's a struggle? It's not true. Remember, struggle is fear. Why does it feel like a struggle to be happy? Why does it feel like a struggle to remain in your wish fulfilled? Why does it feel like a trigger trumps your joy, your happiness, your wish fulfilled? Why does it feel like you can't control those negative thoughts or feelings? Why does it feel like that? A couple things I want to share with you. One of my clients yesterday, she actually shared a story with me about, it's a metaphysical story about a dog and a bone. And I'm not really sure who the author of the story is, but she shared it with me, and it reminded me of another story that if I have a moment, I'll share with you as well. But the story of the dog of the bone is there's this dog who has a bone, and it's extremely chewed up. And the bone has like nothing left to it. It's just like it already sucked all of the stuff out of it. I forgot what it's called. But really there's nothing left. And he is presented, that same dog is presented with new bones that have meat and all these wonderful things to chew on and to play with and to eat and to snack on. But he looks at it and he walks away from it, and he goes back to the bone that has no more marrow in it. That's what I was thinking. It has nothing left because he's more comfortable and familiar with all the work, the efforting, the struggle, the determination, all of that. He's more familiar with the bone that has nothing left to give him. He's comfortable with it. He considers this normal. And the new platter of treats and new bones that have meat and all kinds of things on it for him, he walks away from. So the story is, and she said that she took some kind of a profile quiz or something, and that's kind of the story that was given to her to describe that she would rather feel normal in the struggle, in the pain, and remain efforting, fighting, going, like just sticking with what she knows, that pain, that suffering, that working for it, determination that I know somehow, something, some way, I'm going to get something out of this, even though you have the kingdom of God within you and are presented with everything that you can desire without any effort, meaning by just simply going within and choosing and allowing yourself to have it. But I'm going to get into this even deeper, because on preparing for this video today, I came across, as many of you know, I'm in the psychology circle still, so I get a lot of information from different studies that are being done. And for the DSM-5, that's a diagnostic manual, if you don't know, and that's what people use to diagnose, that therapists use to diagnose their clients with whatever illness that they say they have. So one of the newer studies that I came across is something very interesting, and it's called cheerophobia. And it's not in the diagnostic manual yet. It's under review, and it's a possibility, potential that they'll put it in the diagnostic 6, in the DSM-6. However, not sure yet. But in the meantime, what clinicians are doing is they're treating cheerophobia as a phobia. And so they treat this as any other phobia. Now, what does cheerophobia mean? In the study and research of cheerophobia, this is what they found. Cheerophobia, it's fearing being cheerful. It's fear of happiness. Okay, so they conducted a lot of studies, and they asked a lot of questions, and they asked people what they're afraid of if they were happy. And the top answer was, some of the top answers, there was many, but some of the top answers was fear of something bad will happen if you're happy. So if something happens that's happy and they feel happy, they're fearful of something bad happening afterwards. Another one is the other shoe dropping. Fearing of, like, they get what they want and then they wait for the other shoe to drop. They're afraid that the other shoe, they can't relax. So in other words, they have what they wanted, you have your desire, and now you get it, and now you're waiting around for the other shoe to drop. In other words, for it not to work. Do you see? So then another one, that it won't last. That if something good or happy happens to you, that you're afraid that it won't last. And when people get into this one specifically, when I was a therapist that afraid of it won't last, their behaviors begin to change. They go from being happy and joyful and feeling content and grateful and all that of what they have, but then they begin to hold on to it. They begin to latch onto it. They begin to be afraid. They begin to analyze what they have. They begin to start squirreling the money away, or start figuring out how to keep their relationship going. They start looking for problems to fix in the relationship. They hold on. They become clingier and needier. There's so many things that happen, and they're afraid it won't last. So it's not that someone's needy or clingy or controlling. It's they're afraid. They're happy. So they love it so much that they're afraid it's not going to last. So the behaviors that they get involved into, whether it's money or relationship or anything, a business or a home or whatever, afraid it won't last. It is too good to be true. This is what cheerophobia is. And I thought, whoa, this fits perfectly in my message today. Okay, so in other words, the message is that most people are conditioned to be unhappy. And then all of a sudden, you have an imaginal act. You start seeing yourself with your person. You start seeing yourself as financially free. You start seeing yourself, and it feels good, right? You get into a sats, you do an imaginal act, you script, you affirm something, and you're feeling good. You're riding high. You're like, yeah, like maybe a day or an hour or a couple days or a week or whatever. And then then you say you struggle to stay in the wish fulfilled. I get triggered and bounced out. It feels like you claim you can't control your thoughts. These are the things that start happening. Why? Because of this. Because you're afraid. You're not used to being happy. So it's not even that cherophobia is a thing, okay? I don't want you to diagnose yourself with this. It was interesting that this came up as I was preparing for the video, right? But what I want you to see is that you have normalized being unhappy. You have normalized being non-fulfilled. You have normalized there's a 50% chance that it won't work out, that it's too good to be true, that if you do get what you want, you'll lose it. And then you'll go back to desperate measures or old behaviors to latch onto and keep your happiness. All of this is fear. All of this is eluding that you don't have the power to decide what you have or what you get or what happens, as if you are not the joy and the happiness itself. Do you see that? So I also wanted to share with you, this is from Alan Cohen, who is a Course in Miracles spiritual teacher. He says, fear is a liar. I must be, and this is what he says, fear is a liar, and this is a question that he suggests you ask yourself when you have any fearful thought or feeling. You say, I must be believing in some lie for me to be thinking, feeling, or experiencing, or seeing, or hearing this. I must be believing in some lie, and there is the truth behind it. So in other words, you ask yourself, okay, I know fear is a lie because there's only love, no matter what. I'm conditioned to not being happy. I'm conditioned to working hard, struggling, fighting, and that's normal. Okay, that is not who I am. That's all a lie. Struggling, efforting, working hard, not being happy, being not fulfilled, that's all the lie. Because who you really are is love. There is only love. God is only love. God is only good. God is only good. You are only good. You are only love. And those thoughts and those struggles that you feel that you have to address is a fear that do not need addressing, but merely you choosing and asking yourself, I must be believing in some lie. And there is a truth behind it. What's the truth? The truth is that there's only love. And that lie, that fear, that struggle, that whatever you're fearing is just hiding. It's a veil on top of the truth, the love that you are. That is what you are discovering. What is behind every single fear? Love. That is what is behind it all, because love is changeless. Love doesn't go anywhere. The unconditional truth, that love, that who you really are, that is what is always present. And so when you're feeling this, you can be at that crossroads and asking yourself, am I willing to be that dog with that old bone and not partake in the kingdom that is within me? Have I been so used to struggle, working hard, and being unhappy and lonely and bitter or broke or whatever, and you're so used to it that you have not even seen that kingdom, that love of who you are, your wealth, your health, your love, your relationships, everything you desire is already within you, and that you didn't see the veil, that you have been conditioned to be unhappy, non-fulfilled, so that you do an imaginal act. You come across this information and you're just like, this is BS. This doesn't work. This is hard work. I got to affirm 10,000 times a day. If I don't do my focus work, if I don't stay on top of my thoughts, if I don't do all this, and I'm not getting what I want. That's more of that normal feeling that you got to fight for it. You got to work hard to get what you want. Do you see that? That there is some effort that has to be involved here. That's not love. That's not unconditional love, you guys. Because who you really are, it's all within you. So when you fight or struggle or wrestle whatever your fears are, that all you remain there, and you don't enjoy who you really are. So letting go of the fears is recognizing, no. You tell yourself, I refuse to accept this anymore. I am love. There's only God. There's only good. There's only love. And that is who I am. And it will feel like you're not doing anything at the beginning. It will feel like nothing's changing, but you are, because you are claiming your identity. You are declaring your I amness. That is what you're doing by choosing. I actually heard this story on another video on another channel, and the story actually belongs to Alan Cohen, who actually I referenced here as well. He's that Course in Miracles teacher, and you guys can find him too on YouTube if you like to study Course in Miracles more. But the story is about the palace in the fish market, and Alan Cohen talks about this, and he talks about how there is a palace with a princess, and the princess is kidnapped by these fishermen, and they kidnap her when she's really small, and they raise her in the fish market for I don't know how long, and they raise her in the fish market where it's stinky, sweaty, there's scammers, it's hard work, you have to get up every day, life is difficult, and she stinks, and she's doing all of this, and this becomes her normal. But one day a kinsman finds her, takes her back to the palace, and goes back home to her mom and dad, the king and queen. And they clean her up, and they give her room, and she is like in this beautiful, wonderful, lush luxury of a palace, right? But she wakes up screaming and says, get me out of here, I want to go home. And so she wakes up screaming because she's not comfortable in this lush, luxurious, wonderful, with loving parents and everything. She's not used to it. She doesn't know what to do with it. Even though it feels good, she doesn't know what to do with it. And she says, I'm just going to go back. How many of you guys have seen so many movies like this? I can't even tell you how many movies. Like, this story is not unique, right? If you guys have seen so many stories where somebody becomes wealthy and then they end up sleeping on the floor because that's what they're used to, right? And even though they have this big lush bed, they're over on the floor or they were kidnapped and they were raised in some prison or whatever, and then they have everything back, but they're on the floor in the fetal position because they're not used to having. Do you see? So I love that story because it reminds me of that cherophobia. It reminds me of that dog with the bone. He'd rather have the meatless bone and gnaw on it and chew on it and work hard on it instead of just turning and choosing, no, this is who I am. So that little princess that goes back to the palace is received by her mom and dad, the king and queen, and that is your higher self saying, welcome home. This is where you belong. There's only love. There's only love. This is the only reality. When you were gone, you made this up. You thought that there was struggle. You thought that there was fear and lack and poverty and unhealth and not feeling healthy or not being loved or that you don't have what you want. And king and queen saying, welcome home. This is your home. This is your palace. So stop screaming to go back to your normal. Every time you fight for your limitation, you question the law. You say, it's been this long, it's taken too long. You are holding up fear, defending fear. You're defending it. I told one of my clients, you're defending it so much, you bought it a condo, a top floor with all the nice luxuries, amenities. You bought fear, like the best clothes and shoes, and you gave it a valet, and it has a car with a driver, a chauffeur. Like, you are like, every time you try to figure out your fear and how to get rid of it, and you address it, and you say, but it's been this long. But every time you do that, you're just like dressing fear up. You're just like letting fear have the luxurious lifestyle that you are. Do you see that? You're giving fear that love, all the desires. You're letting fear have it. You're giving fear the attention instead of giving yourself that attention instead of you going home to love, to your kingdom, to who you really are. And I really intend this video got in there and really shuffle some things around, because I think it's such an obvious thing that is happening to so many, and why they think that they can't have what they want, and why they keep going back to negative thoughts and renumerating and all these words. You guys, I know I'm a former therapist. I've heard all of these terminologies, okay? And I can tell you that it's because you have normalized being unhappy. You're used to not having what you want, but that is not the truth of who you are. Who you are is that cute little puppy that has every toy, every snack, every bone, all the things that you want. Or you're that princess that has everything you want, or you're that prince that has everything you can possibly want and more, if you turn to it and say, no, I don't choose unhappiness. I choose my happiness, and it is my happiness who I am. That is the truth of who I am. If it's not love, it's not real. Simple as that. Okay, my loves, thank you so much for liking the video. Thank you for subscribing to The Rosey Life. And thank you for sharing the videos from The Rosey Life with others. It helps our channel grow. I really appreciate your love and your support. I feel it so much, more and more every single day, and I really mean that. And I truly enjoy being here with you guys and leveling up with you. All right, so I will see you soon, because you all are so freaking amazing. I can't wait to see you again. Bye.